Well, we have ourselves here a Shimano Quest with 105 componentry, and it has Reynolds 631 main tubing. So it's a nicer steel frame. Is this really a good deal, or is it something we should pass on? We'll go over the details on this bike after this. Welcome to I Know a Guy Bicycles. Welcome to I Know a Guy Bicycles, hanging out with the guy. Hi, I'm Justin, the guy. Obviously, of a garage shop. Taking scary how to use bikes one bike at a time. If you like these videos, please like and subscribe. And here we have it. A Shimano. You may have heard of them. They're around. They've been around. We used to carry them at Parker Bikes. So, no offense to bike lines out there of all shapes and sizes, but we all know in industry there's a line and a B line and a C line when you carry multiple lines within your bike shop. A line is usually one of those, is either a Trek or Specialized, a bigger brand. Reason being, they will have contracts that will limit you to how much other lines of products that you'll carry. So in other words, if you do a B line, you only could do, I don't know, 15, 20% of the inventory. Kind of just their jockeying of floor space and being a headliner, right? Kind of like a band and a headliner. Unfortunately, the B lines don't get as much floor space. Well, what makes a B line bike line? Well, usually not as popular. Sometimes in some shops that is their A line because they offer usually better deals. Better deals for not just the bike shop owners, but also better deals for the consumer. What does that mean? Well, if you drink the Kool-Aid of the Trek and the Specialized and the Cannondales and the Giants out there, you're thinking that's the best of the best. And I need to have that. Or I need to have it to be a little lighter. Or I need to have it this way. Well, a lot of us, well, the other 90% of us that ride bikes or like cycling don't really need that. The funny thing is you see the circuits for racing, and you know, it is nice and fancy to see all the newer things out there, but quite honestly, when it comes down to brass taxes of going to the individual consumer, that's you guys, also as well as me, hey, a B-line bike is sometimes just as good, actually better, because I'll ride it. The thing is we carried also a Fuji, which is also considered that line. Kona is another one that's probably been kicked around in the news cycles lately. So those are, and yeah, they also have Salsa and Sorota, no, that's titanium. I'm trying to think of Salsa and another one. But anywho, those particular lines, they have not as many models, and they do have kind of like comparison models to the more popular brands. That's always been the case for the last 30 years. So this particular one, the Quest, which is a steel frame bike with 105 componentry, which is still good stuff, but get this, sometimes they'll have some nifty little trinkets on there that'll be spec'd out like Ritchie bars and stems and seat posts. Go figure. This probably did not have this wheel set on it. It was upgraded, but it does have a full 105 componentry drivetrain and brakes, so it wasn't down-spec'd like a lot of the big brands do. In addition to, when this is for retail, it is probably $100 or $200 cheaper than the Trek or the Specialized counterpart. Pardon the interruption, there is more. More you say? Push the more button. Push it. Push it. I dare you to push it. Once you push that button, you get more details about the video you are watching, in addition to all the tools that I use in the shop, as well as suggestion for improving your ride. In addition to help me provide advocacy in the cycling community, also links to other social media accounts as well as my website to find the products I actually sell and other insights in the industry. Other videos linked below. Extend your cycling experience here on YouTube. And now back to your original programming. That being said, is it still a good bike to purchase used? Well, most definitely. And in addition to, it's probably not going to be reselling for the price of the Trek and Specialized, Serrata, you know, Moots, Titanium, all those others, or Cervelo. It's going to be a little bit lower pricing, which, you know, for somebody that's just getting into road riding and just wants a decent bike, these are decent bikes. So don't hesitate to buy the Fuji, the Raleigh, the Schwinn's. Those are made for a little bit more bike shop brands. Also the Jamis, pretty decent. So let's dive into the details of this one. Besides just the Shimano componentry, you know, the 105, which is pretty much spec to brand to brand to brand to brand, that's fine. And looking at the age of this, I would assume it's probably late 90s, early 2000s. It has your standard A headset front, and it does have Reynolds chromoly tubing, and it's a 631 versus the 834 or 831, which is a little bit heavier chromoly. Are you going to know this difference while you ride? No. Actually, a steel bike versus like a Bontrager or a old school Bontrager or a Le Mans steel, you may know a little bit of the difference because of the geometry, but other than that, as in the feel of the ride itself or the steel properties, it's going to be fine. And another thing too to note, this one says main tubing. What does that mean, main tubing? All the main tubing? Main tubing is the three main tubes, which is the top tube, down tube, and seat tube. So yes, the rest of it is probably chromoly, but it's just standard chromoly. It's not a branded with Reynolds or whatever brand that might be out there. So that's how they kind of, and they've always played this game. It's nothing new, and they still do it today. So it's just, you know, one of those, you know, so they can put a sticker on it, you know, kind of thing to add more validation. But what is kind of nice about this frame, it does have rack mounts. So for those who are commuting, that's awesome. Also a rack mount underneath, and you can probably fit a nice little fender in there as well. Actually, it does have a fender mount in the back bottom. Also has a nice little gusseting in the back piece here, which is kind of cool. So there's some details to even the BLine that's pretty kind of cool. You know, it's like, hey, you know, it's a decent bike. It's a steel bike, and you can put a rack on it for commuting or touring and that kind of thing. It does come with a Kinesis front carbon fork. Not too shabby. Whatever brand be. Oh, that's a Physique saddle, which is supposedly a high-end saddle. So, you know, overall, is it safe, again, to buy a brand BLine? And sure enough, I mean, if you find something like this with 105 componentry, and you know, if it's within the $300 to $200 range, yeah, got this one even cheaper than that. And you know, of course, I'm going to be doing my magic on it, which is, you know, stripping it down, cleaning up, replacing some of the, you know, the cables in the housing, and you know, various other things, and try to clean up. And this is also pretty cool. It's black chrome, so yeah, it does add more weight to the bike, but it's pretty minuscule. But it is black chrome. Schwinn was known for this back in the 80s and the 90s of black chroming their bikes. Those things were tanks. But anywho, the black chrome is kind of cool. We'll see if some of these little scratches will buff out a little bit without compromising the chrome itself. But I think it's going to turn out to be a pretty beautiful bike in regards. And the wheels, I mean, they're still, well, it has all-Tegra rear hub. One thing, and also Open Pro rim. So the rear wheel is spectacular, and it has a Cosmos Mavic front. So, hey, you know what? Not bad. You know, it's going to be an awesome little bike. It's a 57. It's going to fit a pretty good average rider. It's going to be a great entry-level road bike just to get around riding, and actually has those features. Talking about those features, there's a bigger latest trend of people getting into more like, I don't say gravel, but more like touring style. This one does have the rack mounts, so that's kind of cool. Also, you can switch this out to a fork that does have panniard mounts, so you can put racks up front and make it a panniard as well and get a little more of an inverted tread tire. But anywho, I mean, it's still pretty decent. And you know, for a lot of people out there that get stuck in the Kool-Aid land of like, oh, I gotta have a truck, I gotta have a Specialized or whatever. I mean, fair enough. Sometimes it's usually driven by personal reasons, or that was their first bike, that kind of thing, which is fine. But the geometries on these are pretty decent. And I've ridden the Fujis and the Jamis too, back in the Parker Bikes days, and hey, they're just fine. And saved a little coin and the back end of it. So, you know, so not a bad deal. Anywho, check out the awesome pictures of after me tearing into this and making it to market. But I wanted to talk about BLines And BLines are A-okay with me. Weird, huh? Anyway, that's kind of how I am. Until next time, check out this chrome bike. Whoa, did you feel that? Better start the video, huh? All right, what am I doing? Oh yeah, all right.